Hey everyone, and welcome to today's strategic briefing. Look, if you're a technical lead, a cloud architect, or you're stepping into those shoes right now, this explainer was built entirely for you. I'm here to help you navigate a cloud landscape that is frankly transforming right underneath our feet. Now, you might be wondering, what's the most valuable career skill for the next couple of years? Well, I'll tell you right now, it is not about mastering every single new AWS service the second it drops, and it's definitely not about how many paper certifications you can stack up. Instead, it's all about how fast you adapt. It's about how you shift from manual task execution to high-level system architecture and, crucially, how effectively you integrate AI into everything you do. We really need to future-proof your career trajectory here, so let's just dive right in.
So here's our roadmap for today. First up, the new cloud reality. Then, from manual to automated. Third is portfolios over paper certs. Fourth, integrate AI or fall behind. Fifth, build cloud-agnostic architecture. And finally, we'll map out your actual 2026 roadmap.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the new cloud reality, and more importantly, how to avoid a very common trap.
So, we really need to talk about a specific trap that literally stalls careers out of nowhere. We're calling it the shiny object anti-pattern. There's this perfect anecdote from our source material about a mentee named Andy. Now, Andy is your classic cloud skills chaser, right? One week he's diving headfirst into Terraform, the next week it's DevOps, and then the following week he's suddenly decided he needs to master Python. So what's the result of all this massive context switching? Well, he's constantly resetting from zero. Every single time he picks up a new tool, he practically forgets what he learned earlier because it's purely surface-level learning. And this creates a really profound lack of deeper knowledge application, which completely kills his chances of transitioning into a true leadership role. Ironically, having all these options is actually what's keeping him stuck. Exploring is totally fine, but as a technical lead, you just can't afford to operate without a clear architectural goal. You've got to avoid that shiny object syndrome and actually focus your momentum.
Moving right along to Section 2, from manual to automated, rethinking infrastructure.
The divide between the past and the future of cloud infrastructure is absolutely massive right now. Let's be real. Relying on the AWS console to manually provision your infrastructure is rapidly becoming a legacy skill. Yes, the console feels super visual, it's easy, it's familiar. Honestly, it's how almost all of us learned. But for production-level environments, it's a massive bottleneck. It's slow, it is highly prone to human error, and if a team member needs to replicate your setup, they're basically stuck half-guessing which configuration boxes you checked off on a Tuesday afternoon. Modern provisioning absolutely demands infrastructure as code, or IAC, using tools like Terraform or the AWS CDK. Because IAC is version-controlled, it's highly repeatable, and, here's the real game changer, it can now be instantly generated by AI.
To put that into perspective, consider this single piece of data. According to a HashiCorp survey, a whopping 90% of organizations using infrastructure as code report that it significantly speeds up their provisioning and reduces misconfigurations. 90%. Think about that. If you are still clicking around a console interface to deploy an EC2 instance or set up a load balancer, you're directly competing against automated systems that do it instantly, flawlessly, and at a scale that no human could ever match. And you know, this shift to automation extends right into incident response too. Let's compare the two approaches. The old way relies entirely on manual runbooks. It's super procedural. Step 1, check the cloud watch logs. Step 2, restart the EC2 instance. Step 3, escalate the ticket to Tier 2, right? You aren't actually solving the problem from first principles there, you're literally just executing a to-do list. The modern shift, though, is moving entirely toward automated AI systems. AI already has the capability to read your system documentation, cross-reference those runbooks, and apply the necessary fixes without any human intervention at all. Your job is no longer executing the steps in a guidebook. Your job as a technical lead is to design the self-healing systems that prevent those problems from happening in the first place, and to teach internal AI co-pilots how to handle the routine stuff on their own.
Okay, Section 3, portfolios over paper certs, proving proficiency.
Let's bring Andy back into the mix for a second. This is what we call the Andy dilemma. Poor guy spent hundreds, maybe 1,000 hours just studying and cramming to achieve 5 AWS certifications and an Azure Fundamentals badge. Sounds great on paper, right? But when he was finally tasked with basic, real-world cloud deployment projects, he completely struggled. And why is that? Because he passed those exams by memorizing concepts, not by practically applying them in a live environment. This lack of deeper operational knowledge becomes incredibly obvious the exact second you step into a rigorous technical interview or a true leadership role where the answers simply aren't multiple choice. The industry has definitely caught on to this, and a massive hiring shift is currently underway. Look, getting a couple of associate-level certifications is a totally fine starting point, but exams primarily test your ability to memorize architectural patterns and random facts. Memorizing exactly how many AWS regions exist, honestly, that's basically just a neat little party trick now. Why? Because AI assistants like ChatGPT or Amazon Q can spit out that exact, accurate answer in about 2 seconds. Companies are shifting heavily, and I mean heavily, toward project-based hiring. They want to see your GitHub repositories. They want documented case studies. They want undeniable proof that you can actually build a working, scalable environment to solve a real business problem, not just fill in a bubble on a test sheet.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, Integrate AI or Fall Behind. This is the new standard.
I really want to let this reality sink in for a moment. AI won't take your job, but the person using AI tools absolutely will. By 2026, this is going to be extreme. Cloud architecture jobs are essentially becoming AI architecture jobs. The underlying expectation has entirely changed. Think about it. Why would a company pay you to build something slowly over 3 weeks when you can build it 10 times faster using AI to generate your boilerplate code, your security policies, or your infrastructure templates? The most successful cloud architects right now are rapidly transitioning their identity from general solutions architects to generative AI specialist solutions architects.
So, let's look at how this builds into a practical, tangible project milestone for your portfolio. Imagine you're tasked with processing raw customer feedback that's just sitting in an Amazon S3 bucket. The legacy approach would be to use traditional data analytics. Maybe you average out the customer star ratings or run some very basic keyword sentiment analysis. Kind of boring, right? But a modern AI integration milestone looks fundamentally different. You take that exact same raw data, you natively integrate Amazon Bedrock, and you deploy a secure conversational interface. Suddenly, both your technical and non-technical staff can ask natural language questions about the feedback or even auto-generate new product recommendations based on hidden trends. AI tools are commoditized now. Your ability to integrate them into standard cloud architecture is exactly what's going to set you apart from the pack.
Next up, Section 5, Build Cloud-Agnostic Architecture. We're talking about long-term portability here. Now, a really common trap is getting incredibly comfortable with specific proprietary service names, like Amazon S3, AWS Lambda, or Azure Cosmos DB, but then completely freezing up when you're faced with an unfamiliar platform. A true cloud-agnostic strategy doesn't mean you have to memorize every single cloud platform out there. That's virtually impossible. No one can do that. Instead, it means intimately understanding the core building blocks: compute, storage, networking, security, and automation. When you truly understand the foundational principles of how to dynamically allocate compute or secure a network boundary to meet a business goal, you can seamlessly apply that exact same knowledge in any context, whether you're building in AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud.
So how do you actually achieve this without spreading yourself way too thin? Well, we call it the 1+1 skill matrix. Instead of trying to learn 3 distinct clouds all at once, strategically combine one cloud platform with one adjacent, highly transferable skill. For example, pair your AWS knowledge with Python to master automation scripting, or pair AWS with Terraform to master cross-platform infrastructure as code, or maybe combine Azure with deep pipeline-driven DevOps practices. By doing this, your foundational capabilities become immediately transferable. You aren't just an AWS person anymore. You're an enterprise automation expert who just happens to be utilizing AWS today.
All right, bringing it all together in Section 6, your 2026 career roadmap, the architect's mandate. Let's get down to brass tacks. Here are your immediate next steps to definitively future-proof your skill set. First, stop relying on the AWS console for provisioning. Force yourself to use code for every single deployment. Second, stop treating incident response like a manual to-do list. Start designing self-healing systems and integrate those AI co-pilots. Third, shift your energy away from collecting paper certificates and pour that valuable time into building a robust, project-based GitHub portfolio. Fourth, actively use AI tools like Amazon Q or Claude to generate your infrastructure templates. It's going to speed up your development tenfold. And finally, strictly adopt that one cloud plus one adjacent skill model to ensure your knowledge remains platform agnostic, deeply relevant, and highly portable.
I want to leave you with one final, pretty provocative thought. Take a look at your daily workflows, look at your current projects right now, and ask yourself honestly, are you building systems that rely on your continuous manual input just to function? Or are you designing the automated AI-integrated architectures that will run the future? Because the technical leads who thrive in 2026 will undoubtedly be doing the latter. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this strategic briefing has given you the absolute clarity you need to map out your next career phase. Now, go build something incredible.